Hey there, friends. By now, everybody has seen or at least heard of the manifesto, the leaked manifesto that Steven Crowder put out yesterday. 3 pages of it, in fact, not the entire thing. Just as a side note, upwards to 20 notebooks were reportedly captured from the killer in the Nashville shooting, between the killer's home and the vehicle that they drove to the school to carry out their killing spree. So this is 3 pages out of 20 notebooks. So again, apparently there's a whole lot more to go. Now, as we reported yesterday in the video, not only would people discredit Steven Crowder and the manifesto, but anybody else who talked about it. Never wondering for 1 minute that it sure seemed like they were helping to cover something up. But nobody wants to talk about that. The very obvious that the media and so many other people are trying to hide what's in this manifesto. My question immediately has to be, why? What are you trying to hide? If you're so eager to put out every other manifesto, when anybody else of any other color, gender, selection, choice, or whatever performs a heinous crime, you're immediately wanting to let this thing out within hours, days, or even weeks at most whenever they carry out their crime. Yet this one, you don't ever want it to see the light of day. Well, we caught a little bit of a glimpse of that, and I'll get more to that here in a second. Oddly enough, Steven Crowder's YouTube video has been taken down. YouTube took it down and said that he was part of an organized crime unit or something like that, something really stupid. They just snatched something out of the thin air that they could put on him to justify taking that down. Nevertheless, my video from yesterday is still up. For now, it'll likely get taken down at some point, but nevertheless, it is still out there. So, what was in it? Okay, at this point, we're not going to go over the whole video because that video is out there from yesterday, but what was in it is likely a piece of, but I don't believe all of what they are trying to hide. Obviously, let's play their game for a second. If this killer identified, as they say, as a black male, even though she was a white female, in her pretend world, which is really, really nutty and probably over-medicated and over-testosterone, but anyway, in her nutty world, maybe she thought she was a black man. Because in her writing, she talks about wanting to kill crackers. Bear with me here, because this is going to be a game that we don't play. But we're going to pretend for a second, okay? I never let them suck me into their pretend world. If they want to act like they are a kitty cat, if they want to act like they are a black person, if they want to act like they are a male, when they're not, I'm not playing. I'm not playing the game. But let's take the media and politicians and people in their political or the political arenas who are trying to make societal policy. In other words, trying to make the new norms out there. Okay, so you guys want a person to be able to identify a certain way, and then you say that's legit at that point? Okay, great. Let's play your game. So we had a black male write a letter saying that they want to kill crackers and white kids. Is that not a hate crime? Now, I don't subscribe to the whole stupid hate crime BS. My moral compass centers around fairness. If you murder somebody, I don't care what your religion is, I don't care what your race is, I don't care what your cultural belief system is. All I care about is you get punished just like everybody else who murdered somebody. I don't care if you murdered them because they're black, white, Asian, alien. I'm talking about aliens. I don't care what your reason for murdering somebody is. If you intended to take somebody's life, you should get the full weight of the law thrown at you no matter what. And there should be no lessening of that or no harsher punishment. Everyone who chooses to take a person's life should be treated the same way. The full weight of the law should be on you. It should not be more because somebody was a particular color, somebody who chose a certain gender or whatever. So I want to get that out of the way right now. I don't believe in that. However, we do have those laws in place. unfortunately. They are stupid laws, but they are in place. And they are used often, very often. Now, we don't have anybody being investigated for a crime in Nashville because that shooter is dead. But wouldn't we be talking about a hate crime, and shouldn't we be talking about a hate crime if we're playing by their rules? If we're going to recognize their cute little hate crimes, and we're going to recognize their little game of pretend, then we had a black male write a letter about killing white kids because they were white. And that's how this should be addressed. That's one of the reasons why they don't want to talk about this, and they don't want to see any more of this manifesto, because they started reading and they were like, holy crap, this is not good. They have already worked so hard to divide us that they feel like this will divide us more. It won't. They've already done the damage. We're big people, right? We're adults. That's the other thing that pisses me off. They think they're the only adults in the room and that we can't handle what's in the manifesto. But they can, so they're just not going to let it out. But I can tell you another thing. The reason why I would be willing to bet the bigger picture inside here is that you get a really good look inside the mental state of a trans person. You get a really good look at the hate in there and the disdain for other human beings just because they don't play your game. They don't want to play pretend, and you get mad and you want to kill them. If a gender pretender is out there trying to play a certain game and try to force you to play pretend with them and you don't, and that's their reason for wanting to kill you, something is dreadfully wrong with that person. And we know that as a fact because in the DSM-5 book on mental conditions, they talk about gender dysphoria, which is what this person suffered from. And I'm going to say one of the things that I always say in my videos when I talk about these trans people. People, they talk to me like, why are you so mean to these trans people? Okay, let me explain a little bit. I'm not mean and mad at them. You know who I'm really mad at? I'm mad at society for not recognizing their mental condition and attempting to get them help. We are witnessing people before our very eyes that have a documented mental condition. How do we not know whenever they come out and say, yay, I want to be a black man, or I think I'm a black man, when they're clearly a white female? Why do we celebrate that? How do we not know that was not her cry for help? How do we not know the reason she's mad at the world is because she had these things to say and was thinking, this is my way, because everybody has their own way of crying for help. This is my way of telling you I'm troubled and I need help. And instead of anybody embracing her and trying to get her help, they applaud the pretend game that this person is playing. Imagine the rejection that that person gets at that point when they realize this is the only way that I know to cry for help, and they cry for help, and all you do is enable them and make their condition worse and don't get them help. Do you think you're helping them by recognizing their mental condition as being normal? Do you think that's help? That's not helping them. That's my problem with this whole trans movement. It's not necessarily with the people, although there are some belligerent people out there that want me to play their game with them, and I'm not going to. I'm more mad at society for embracing this and not helping these people. With the ridiculous suicide rate of 0.0001% of the population out there, with the ridiculous suicide rate that they have, there's no way they should have that kind of a suicide, 50-something% suicide rate. It's because nobody's trying to help them. You should be looking at me as attempting to try to draw some kind of attention to help them, or at least get them help. But nobody looks at it like that. It's let's celebrate what they think they are and not treat the mental condition. That's absolutely stupid, and that's irresponsible of people. And I think that, again, what this 20 notebooks of manifesto is going to show is a deep, dark look inside the mind of these people. And they already are trying to pretend like another pretend game, but pretend like there's some kind of genocide. You know what when they talk about trans genocide, do you know what they're talking about? It's no genocide, because the straight community that I belong to, It's not the people perpetuating the violence against them. It's people in that LGBT community that are performing acts of violence against them. It's their dating partners and people within that community. It ain't us. But to that point of trans genocide, you do realize what they're talking about, right? They're talking about legislation that's being put in place that will prevent a 9 or 10-year-old child from choosing to change their own gender, which is not possible, but to medically and chemically either castrate them or take the drugs and do the things necessary to get as close as you can to swapping genders. What these laws are trying to prevent is they're trying to prevent a 9 or 10-year-old who still doesn't know what their favorite color is, yet some people on the wacko far left think that they can choose that maybe they're in the wrong gender or have the wrong gender. They're wanting to, the laws that they're wanting to put in place are meant to prevent that. And I still don't think it's right, but to allow a parent to help them make that decision. That's still wrong. I think it's child abuse when a parent would allow a 9 or 10-year-old child who, again, doesn't know what their favorite color is, but somehow, miraculously, they know what their true gender is, even though we already know what their real gender is. That's child abuse. But when they say genocide, that's what they're talking about. There's no killing and true genocide in the true text of the word that's going on against these trans people. Again, all they're trying to say is our numbers, our population of, quote, trans people is smaller because we're going to be putting laws into place that are preventing these children from being able to transition. That's what they're calling genocide. There's no real genocide. They just like the flowery word because it gets people's attention. It's a made-up word in their condition because it doesn't mean anything or doesn't mean what they say it is. Bottom line, we have to look at all of this and wonder why people like this mayor in Nashville are so upset that this manifesto got out. Now, at first, the mayor would not confirm whether or not this manifesto, at least these 3 pages, were legitimate. Now, he's come out and he said that it is legitimate, but he's mad. He doesn't like the fact that this got out. So, again, the only thing you need to take from any of these videos, whether it's Crowder's or mine about any of this, is why don't they want the general public to know the reason why a certain subset of people, because let's face it, they're wanting to celebrate this person and all the other people who suffer from the same mental condition. So we can put them all in the same category. So they are wanting to celebrate those people. So I want to know about all the other ones out there, like this person who did not get help. There's hundreds, maybe thousands more out there, there ain't many, who are suffering from that same mental condition. You know what I want to know? I want to know how their mind works. I want to know how they think. My guess is this person is very likely over-medicated and full of testosterone, which the female body cannot handle. So I want to know about all these other ones out there, just like this person, that we are supposed to accept, that we live next door to, that we go in the shopping centers, and we send our kids to school in the same neighborhoods where they live. I want to know how they think. I want to know, are they all going to snap like this? Is this going to be the end result to all of them? And I have to wonder if the FBI and CIA didn't write this manifesto for this person. If this person truly wrote their own manifesto, I have to wonder, how many more of these same instances do we have? And is this the true reason why nobody wants us to see this manifesto? Because again, within hours, days, and weeks, we see all the other manifestos. Why this one? Why this one?
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.